me start with a confession. I am not a people person. I am a plant person. Specifically, a philodendron person. I have 17 of them. They have names, they have watering schedules. They have never once asked me how my day was, and I love them for it. My name is Sora Tanaka. I am 28 years old. I am a brilliant lawyer and a complete emotional train wreck. I wear the same 3 gray suits in rotation. I eat the same convenience store onigiri for dinner every night. I have not been touched by another human being in a non-handshake capacity for approximately 14 months, and I was fine with that. Fine. Then a man fell off my balcony. Not onto my balcony, off it, from the floor above. He landed in my spider plant, which is now deceased. Rest in peace, Hiroshi the Third. The man was beautiful, in the way that car accidents are beautiful. Messy dark hair, a smile that said, "I've made every bad decision possible, and I regret none of them." He was wearing a sequined jacket at 9 in the morning, which should have been my first red flag. "Hello," he said, sprawled in the ruins of Hiroshi the Third. "I'm your new neighbor. I was trying to rescue my cat."
"You don't have a cat," I said. "I've seen your apartment from mine. You have a lava lamp and a lot of empty ramen cups." He grinned. It was a terrible grin. The kind that makes you want to call the police and also give him your phone number. Observant. I like that. I did not like that. I hated that. I closed my balcony door and went back to my briefs. His name was Ren Haruki. Professional liar, amateur con artist, and the single most annoying person I had ever met. He introduced himself the next day by picking my lock and letting himself into my apartment. "Don't you lock your door?" he asked, already making himself comfortable on my couch. "That's my line." I stood in the kitchen doorway, holding a kitchen knife, not because I was threatening him, because I'd been chopping vegetables terribly. I am also a terrible cook. "I need your help," Ren said. "You're a lawyer, a good one. I've done my research." "You broke into my apartment." "I knocked first. You didn't answer." He said this like it was reasonable. "There's a man trying to kill me. Well, not kill. Ruining. He's trying to ruin me. He's got evidence of something I did 5 years ago, and if it goes public, I go to prison." I should have called the police. I should have thrown him out. Instead, I looked at his stupid, handsome face and his stupid, terrible grin, and I said, "What did you do 5 years ago?" He hesitated. For the first time, he looked almost human. "I conned the wrong person. I stole money from someone who turned out to be much more dangerous than I realized. I've been running ever since." "And you want me to... what? Defend you?" "I want you to help me steal the evidence back." He leaned forward. "I know how that sounds, but I'm not asking you to break the law. I'm asking you to help me break it better." I put down the knife. I sat across from him. And because I am a deeply stupid man who has never made a good decision in his life, I said yes. Here is what I learned about Ren over the next 3 weeks. He was allergic to shellfish, but ate shrimp anyway, because life is short and shrimp is delicious. He had never had a real job, not once. His resume was a creative writing exercise. He slept on the floor because he claimed beds were too committed. This was a lie. I found out later he'd been homeless twice and still couldn't shake the habit of hard surfaces. He was, against all evidence and my better judgment, a genuinely good person. The money he'd stolen 5 years ago, he'd given most of it to a children's hospital. The rest he'd used to survive. He wasn't a villain. He was just a desperate kid who'd made one terrible choice and spent half a decade paying for it. The man chasing him was named Takeda. Wealthy, connected, vindictive. He didn't want the money back.
He wanted Ren destroyed because Ren had made him look foolish.
Takeda had hired a private investigator to dig up everything. The evidence, bank records, voice recordings, a damning email chain, was locked in a safe in Takeda's private office. Our plan was simple. Ren would create a distraction. I would access the office using my legal credentials. I had a legitimate meeting scheduled with Takeda's head of legal, which was true because Takeda's company was currently being sued by one of my clients. I would photograph the evidence, then we would use it to negotiate Ren's freedom. Simple. Clean. Stupid.
The night of the plan, I wore my best gray suit. Ren wore a sequined jacket again, because apparently he owned several. You look like a disco ball, I told him. You look like a funeral, he replied. We match. We took separate cars to the building. I went in through the front door, briefcase in hand, looking exactly like the boring lawyer I was. Ren went in through the parking garage because he had a guy who disabled the security camera for exactly 7 minutes. The meeting was boring. Deliberately boring. I asked tedious questions about intellectual property law while the head of legal droned on about nothing. Meanwhile, somewhere in the building, Ren was setting off the fire alarm. It worked perfectly. The sprinklers came on, the head of legal excused himself. I excused myself in the opposite direction, toward Takeda's private office. The door was locked. Of course it was locked. I stood there, soaking wet in my funeral suit, and I panicked. I don't panic. I am a lawyer. I am calm. I am rational. I am currently having a silent breakdown in a hallway while a fire alarm blares and my heart tries to escape through my throat. Then Ren appeared, wet hair plastered to his face, sequins dripping, grinning like a maniac. "Step aside," he said. He pulled a bent paperclip from his pocket and had the door open in 11 seconds. How? Prison teaches you things. He pushed me inside. Hurry. The safe was behind a painting, a hideous painting of a fish. Ren picked that lock too, because of course he did. I photographed everything. Bank records, voice transcripts, the email where Takeda explicitly admitted to blackmail. It was beautiful. It was damning. It was freedom. Then Takeda walked in. "Mr. Tanaka," he said, standing in the doorway. "I thought you were in a meeting." Ren stepped in front of me, physically, like a human shield. He was shorter than me, which made it slightly ridiculous, but also my heart did something complicated and painful in my chest. "He doesn't work for you," Ren said. "I broke in alone. He's just a lawyer I kidnapped." "Ren," I hissed. "Shut up," he hissed back. Takeda laughed. It was a wet, unpleasant sound. "I have cameras. I've been watching since you entered the building. You're both going to prison." "No," I said. My voice came out steady. I didn't know where it came from. "You're not." I pulled out my phone. I had already sent the photographs to my office server. Those documents are now in the hands of separate legal professionals. If anything happens to either of us, they go public. Your blackmail, your money laundering, your everything. Takeda's face did something interesting. It went from smug to calculating to something very close to fear. "You're bluffing," he said. "I'm a lawyer," I replied. "I don't bluff. I prepare." We walked out of that building at midnight. Ren was shaking. I was shaking. We stood in the parking lot, dripping wet in our ridiculous clothes, and neither of us spoke for a full minute. "You kidnapped me," I said finally. "It was the first thing I thought of." He laughed. It was a real laugh, not his usual performance. It cracked in the middle. "I'm sorry. For everything. For breaking into your apartment, for killing your client, for almost getting you arrested." "Hiroshi the Third," I said. "What?" "My plant. His name was Hiroshi the Third." Ren stared at me. Then he started laughing so hard he had to sit down on the wet pavement. I sat down next to him because I was exhausted, and also because I didn't want to stand anymore. "You're insane," he said. "You fell off my balcony. You're the strangest person I've ever met. You broke into my apartment and asked me to help you commit crimes." I looked at him. His hair was a mess. His sequins were sad. He was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. "I'm gonna kiss you now," I said, "if that's okay." "Finally," he said. And then he kissed me. It was messy. We were both wet. His lips tasted like rain and bad decisions. It was the best thing that had ever happened to me. Here's the ending, because I promised you one. Takeda backed down. He had no choice. The evidence we had was airtight. He signed a legal agreement to leave Ren alone forever, and in exchange, we didn't destroy his entire life. There was a compromise. I hated it. Ren said it was the most romantic thing anyone had ever done for him, which made me feel both proud and deeply concerned about his previous relationships. Ren moved in with me. Not officially. He just stopped leaving. His toothbrush appeared in my bathroom. Then his terrible ramen cups in my trash. Then his stupid sequin jackets in my closet, right next to my gray suits. I bought a new spider plant. Ren named it Hiroshi the Fourth without asking. I pretended to be annoyed. I was not annoyed. He still doesn't have a real job. He does freelance security consulting now, which I'm fairly sure is just legalized breaking and entering. I defend him when things go wrong. We make a terrible team. We make a perfect team. Last week, I came home from work and found him sitting on the balcony, talking to Hiroshi the Fourth. "I love him," he was saying to the plant. "I know it's stupid. I know he's emotionally constipated and he owns 17 philodendrons and he eats the same onigiri every night, but I love him." I stood in the doorway for a long time. Then I walked out and sat down next to him. "Hi," he said. He didn't look embarrassed. He never looks embarrassed. It's infuriating. "I love you too," I said. "But if you kill another one of my plants, we're done." He grinned, that terrible, wonderful grin. No promises. And that's the story. A con artist fell off my balcony and into my life. I helped him commit crimes. We accidentally fell in love. I still have 17 philodendrons and a spider plant named after a casualty.